And hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stephen Hughes. This is the first edition of the new NBA Tonight Show. So we're starting at the halfway point of the NBA season, but it's NBA Tonight here on Spreaker.com. Alongside me, Stephen Hughes, is Robert Dieters to my left, and on Skype, online with us, who's going to be here on the show for the second half of the show, is going to be the NFL's own for Spreaker.com, Nick Rice. Nick Rice, hello there. I think everybody's doing good on this 9:45 evening here in the Pacific Coast. 12:45 is already the Saturday of February 16th over there in the East Coast, where my sister is right now. So hopefully she's listening. Probably not. She's like back off of sports. But obviously, obviously a big day in the NBA, or I should say a big weekend, as the All-Star weekend is about to begin, and especially it started today with the Celebrity Game and the Rising Star Game. The Celebrity Game is not really a big concern. We're just talking about the Rising Star Games, and this is where Robert and I start the show. Nick will join us about 15 minutes on the second half of the show, but now let's get started, Robert.
Hey, Steven, and glad to be on the show. NBA tonight. Can't wait to get it started. Let's start it off, Steven.
All right, so let's get it started, folks. Let's go straight to the All-Star Game action. Let's start with the Rising Stars challenge. It was a Team Shaq versus Team Chuck. Chuck, Shaq, and then Chuck just going at it one on one with their teams of rookies and sophomores going at it here in this BBVA Rising Stars Challenge. Team Chuck wins 163-135 over Team Shaq. Shaq, at halftime, I was watching the game on TNT, and bitter disappointment over his team's performance. But Kenneth Farid, who's also participating in the slam dunk competition, wins the Most Valuable Player award, having a double-double, 40 points, 10 rebounds. Do you think there's a lot of effort in this game? Do you think this is kind of like the Pro Bowl of the NBA?
You could say that. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, pretty much sometimes they just let him like get the shot off. Kenneth Farid just got like a really sick dunk in the game and just allowed him to do it.
Obviously, the memorable ankle-breaking double dribble and jumper over Brandon Knight was the play of the game from Kyrie Irving and the Cleveland Cavaliers. He had 32 points to lead the Team Shaq. And sorry if I was a little bit off on Team Chuck. The team was led by Charles Barkley. I don't know why they call him Chuck. Maybe it's a little nickname for him, but obviously Barkley against Shaq, the crew from the TNT's NBA coverage from TNT going at it in this Rising Stars Challenge. But obviously that play was pretty big. But really, Team Shaq both teams were pretty even. I could tell you, Team Shaq had Damian Lillard, Kyrie Irving, Andrew Nicholson of Orlando, two Warriors, Klay Thompson, Harrison Barnes, Chandler Parsons of Houston, Dion Waiters from Syracuse in Cleveland, Michael Kidd Gilchrist from Charlotte, Tyler Zeller from Cleveland, Kemba Walker from Charlotte, and the injured Andre Drummond, who's scratched due to his back injury. So what do you think about this Team Shaq team that came into today's game?
I thought it was pretty good. Kyle Irving, big name on the board, as well as Klay Thompson, Michael Kidd Gilchrist. So I mean, a number of these guys I thought did pretty well. And when you go to Team Chuck, you had Anthony Davis from New Orleans, Kenneth Farid, the MVP in this one from Denver, Kawhi Leonard from San Antonio, Bradley Beal from Washington, Ricky Rubio from Minnesota, Tristan Thompson from Cleveland, Nikola
Vujacic
from Orlando, Brandon Knight from Detroit, Isaiah Thomas from Sacramento, and Alexei Shved, Minnesota. And Steven, what do you think of Team Chuck?
In my opinion, I thought Team Shaq was a little bit better. They have some good players. Harrison Barnes with a good rookie season. Kyrie Irving with an outstanding second year. Damian Lillard, the front runner going to the halfway point of the year for Rookie of the Year. Michael Kidd Gilchrist, the number 2 overall pick. Some good work out of him in Charlotte. Kemba Walker, to be honest, he's done pretty good this year. Bounce back year. I think that the addition from the draft of Michael Kidd Gilchrist has really helped him not just shooting wise in the offensive game, but passing and defense, and that has really helped Charlotte done better than last year, doing a lot better than last year. But obviously, Team Chuck, they had two big men, Anthony Davis and Kenneth Farid, and they pretty much did the work there. Kawhi Leonard, San Diego State, really good job there. Ricky Rubio, the import from Spain, really doing a good job for Minnesota. And then Brandon Knight, unfortunately, the victim of the play of the game from Kyrie Irving. That was pretty filthy right there. If you guys didn't see it, you guys could go on YouTube and you can just search it. It was sad. It was fun to watch if you're a audience member, but if you were Brandon Knight, then it's just a bad time to be in that situation. But now we're going to go off the Rising Stars, and we're going to go to what's going to be going on tomorrow. And let's start with the three-point competition. Robert, it seems like you have the list of the competitors for the three-point competition.
Ryan Anderson will be in it. Matt Bonner, Stephen Curry, Paul George, Kyle Irving, Steve Novell, and yeah, that's it for that. And just some big names. I'm gonna see Stephen Curry, Paul George, Kyle Irving. I think are gonna be the biggest names on this one. And I think it's gonna be between the three of them winning this one.
This is probably I know a lot of basketball. Robert does too, but I go legitly in the stats and what a player has in potential. And looking at this list, this is probably the best list of three-point shooters I've seen in a very long time in this competition. You have all these are really good three-point shooters, but a few of them are just special three-point shooters. The main reason why they're in the NBA is because of three-point shooting. Ryan Anderson, who had a great year in Orlando, and he was in the competition last year. Matt Bonner, he's the sixth man for San Antonio, but when he's in, he's a three-point shooter. Stephen Curry, he has attempted the most three-pointers this season. Paul George, an all-star, and he's done pretty good, to be honest, in my opinion, leading the Indiana Pacers without their main man over there in Indiana by the name of... Wow, Robert, you don't know that? Come on, son.
Don't embarrass me on the show, please.
Don't worry about it, Robert. It's NBA. It's the All-Star Edition, bruh. It's the All-Star Edition. Don't worry about it. Danny Granger, pretty much. I was trying to get him out of that. Robert, he's
now I'm just thinking
in
about
utter
it.
disappointment. It's just
I'm sorry.
the redness in his face
Feel
is very hilarious. But let's go back to the three-point competition. Steve Novak, he's like Matt Bonner. He's the sixth man, and he just goes out there and does his job. Kyrie Irving, a bit of a surprise entering into this competition, but he is a good shooter anyway. He had 32 points in tonight's game, and then that's pretty much your list there. Robert, who's your top two? You had your top three, but who's your top two in this list of great three-point shooters?
I'm going to tell you one, Stephen Curry, a guy who has a lot of potential, and I believe got robbed of an All-Star game this year, I believe, and still hasn't had an appearance. But, he'll rest up and be ready for the second half of the season. And looking at Paul George, those are my top two guys. I like Paul George. I like how he shoots. This guy is amazing for the Pacers and really led the team.
I like your list there, Stephen Curry and Paul George. My top two, I'm going to go with Curry, last year's three-point competition winner over there in Los Angeles last year. I'm gonna go with Curry again in the finals in the top two or three, whatever they do in that little format. And then I have to pick another one. I'll pick actually two because this list I can't go with two. I have to go with three. I have to go with Matt Bonner, San Antonio. Then I'll go with Steve Novak. Stephen Curry, Matt Bonner, Steve Novak. And my winner is gonna be Stephen Curry again. His even though he's young, his experience shooting so many threes this year is just that gives him the advantage in this game, this competition. So, what do you think, Robert?
Well, I think you have some good choices. I'm not going to argue. I mean, this is probably one of the best three-point competitions we've had in a while.
That's really good. And who do you think is going to be the winner of this competition?
I'm going to have to agree with you. Stephen Curry, my friend. Stephen Curry has always been a guy that could shoot the threes, and you said most attempts, and this guy could shoot threes pretty much left and right.
And there we go from the 3-point competition over to the slam dunk presented by Sprite. The field goes as followed. Eric Bledsoe from the Los Angeles Clippers, it'll be his first slam dunk. Jeremy Evans, he was a participant in last year's slam dunk competition. He is going to be the number 2 man from the Utah Jazz. Kenneth Faried, the MVP of the Rising Stars Challenge from tonight earlier tonight. It'll be his first time out. He is representing the Denver Nuggets. Representing the Pacers is Gerald Green. This will be his 3rd time in the slam dunk competition. Terrence Ross will represent the Toronto Raptors. And one notable Raptor who was in this competition won it, Vince Carter. Back in the day, about 10 years ago, when Michael Jordan was in the Wizards uniform. And then James White, New York Knicks, 6'7", 215 pounds. It'll be his first appearance. So we have 4 guys out of this field of 6 that are first-time slam dunk competition, participants. Robert, how is that going to affect the popularity and what to expect in this slam dunk competition this year?
You expect a lot, but first appearance, you just got to be ready. I know there's going to be challenges. I bet they've been sort of practicing. I mean, this is a big contest. You want to dunk over a car, which Blake Griffin did, or there's the Superman by Dwight Howard. There's a lot of notable slam dunks you can know, but when you look at this list, I go with Kenneth Faried as one of the top picks, and tonight really proved himself. James White and Jeremy Evans, I think, will be my top 3 in the slam dunk contest.
I agree with you, but the thing that I'm kind of astounded by is that just notable slam dunk competition winners, Dwight Howard, Blake Griffin. Those are big guys. You're not going to see Eric Bledsoe, who's only 6'1", and that means he's a guard, try to win it. Terrence Ross, maybe. My top 2 is probably going to be Kenneth Faried, like you said, who's going to be your winner, Robert, or Jeremy Evans. It's going to be a second time. I will take experience over height. Gerald Green, this will be his 3rd appearance. Gerald Green will be his 3rd appearance, but I can't see him really, going out there, and I don't really expect a lot of Gerald Green. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. The experience is on his side with his 3rd appearance, but if it's his 3rd appearance, then obviously you'll like to see a lot more, just a bit more of him. Maybe he win this competition, but Faried and Evans are my top 2, and I'll give it to Faried, to be honest. What he did, the dunk that he had in the 4th quarter before the end of the game. You guys also have to YouTube that. That was pretty nice. You guys can check that out. So we both have Kenneth Faried as our winners for the slam dunk competition, Stephen Curry for our 3-point competition. Lastly, before we get Nick Rice back on the show and we'll go to commercial break, let's head over to the starters and the reserves for the All-Star game for the West and the East. The big news from the East, Rajon Rondo will be replaced by Chris Bosh, a guard being replaced by a forward. A little bit weird, but that's what's going to be going on here in the All-Star game this year. So Robert, how do you feel about that? This came out today. Eric Spoelstra is the coach of the Miami Heat. Did make this decision. How do you feel about this?
I'm really not okay with it. I mean, especially when you already have 2 Heats already started. You want to put in Chris Bosh to put in, and you have Dwayne Wade, you have LeBron James already in it, and those are 2 noticeable guys. I mean, I guess Dwayne Wade, will be the point guard, and LeBron James. You have LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony as 2 forwards, so it's going to be really interesting why the coach did that for the Heat. I just don't like that Chris Bosh is in.
Yeah, I know it's a little bit weird, but we'll talk about a little bit more when we go to commercial break. When we come back, we'll continue our talk with the roster, and then we'll get Nick Rice into the ball game, and we'll answer our call. Oh, wow. Shillbilly Internet Radio. You're such a quiche. Language is not permitted for the show. Go to another show if you want. But when we come back, we'll continue our talk from Word with the Spreakers station. in affiliation with the National Sports Radio Station.
Hello and welcome into the NBA Tonight All-Star Edition. Your host is Stephen Hughes and co-host Robert Dieters as we kick off a good night as Rising Stars game ended tonight with Kenneth Faried with the dunk. And Stephen, back to you, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. What's up, guys? I'm back. Western All Star. So let's break down the starters. Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, like I said, replacing Rajon Rondo. Tore his ACL, unfortunately, but he's thinking of being ready to come back very soon. And very soon, I mean after the end of the season. LeBron James, definite, obvious pick, getting the most votes by all the starters here in the All Star game. Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Garnett round out the Eastern All Stars. In the Western All Stars, Kobe Bryant, Chris Paul, Kevin Durant, Dwight Howard, and Blake Griffin. How do you see those starters making impact for their conferences?
I really like this duo. I mean, wow. I mean, you got you got four Los Angeles guys, but two of them from different teams. You have the Clippers and the Lakers. I like Kevin Durant in it. Kevin Durant is a special player. I've always liked the Thunder just because of him. This guy has been amazing. And ever since, he started his career, I always thought he had potential, and look where he is now.
He got the second most votes by all starters with 1.5 million votes. About 79,000 votes short of the top spot, like I said, taken by LeBron James. A bit of surprise at the center position. You're looking at Dwight Howard, who some people have thought is the main reason why the Lakers are in such a slump. How do you think why do you think he's an all-star starter in this game? Do you think that he really deserves that with the way he's been performing for the Los Angeles Lakers this year?
No, I don't agree with it, but I think it's just because of, popularity. Just Dwight Howard, is a big popular guy in the NBA. A lot of people talk about him, about the, dunk contest, the way he plays. I mean, this year probably wasn't the best, but the last years and the fans he gets, I mean, that's why he's probably in it.
Obviously, that was the case. Now let's go with the reserves. Dwight Howard, I think, could have been replaced by LaMarcus Aldridge, who had a really good season, his second pick to the All-Star game. Let's start with the Western All-Star since I bring up LaMarcus Aldridge. Tim Duncan, 14th All-Star appearance, a future Hall of Famer, guaranteed. James Harden, new starter for the Houston Rockets, first-time All-Star. He's in the home crowd. I bet a lot of people will be happy about that. Then you got David Lee from the University of Florida, his second All-Star appearance, his first with the Warriors. He's also the first Warrior All-Star since '97. Ridiculous. That was about 16 years ago. That's really long time ago for a lot of teams. Tony Parker, fifth All-Star appearance. Zach Randolph, second All-Star appearance. To round out, Russell Westbrook, his third All-Star appearance, guard for the OKC Thunder. Robert, how do you see the reserves? Do you think this is a deserved list right there?
Yeah, it is. James Harden really deserves it. Becoming a sixth man last year and now finally getting the start that I think he wanted. And now coming into the All-Star game, he must feel pretty happy about himself. Being Houston, he's gonna get a big ovation. David Lee, a big notable here. Golden State, yeah, as you said, Golden State Warriors hadn't had one since 1997. I was really disappointed in that. I think, as I said before in the show, Curry could have made it too, but stuff happens. Russell Westbrook, I really like him. Really good point guard. He deserves to be in it. His third appearance. Zach Randolph, I think he deserved it as well.
And we can actually hold it right there. Our own Nick Rice is coming on to the phone right now, and let's answer the call. This call is available to us by Skype. And Nick, welcome back to the show. We can actually start on this very shortly. We're going to just round out the Eastern All-Stars, and then we're going to go straight to the topics that we're going to talk about with you tonight. Yes, definitely. It's very exciting for the three of us to be really talking about this very game with us tonight. Then the Eastern All-Star reserves will be Chris Bosh, who's now the starter, but he was originally picked as a reserve. Tyson Chandler for the New York Knicks. Luol Deng, one of two Bulls that was in the All-Star game. Paul George from Indiana, really doing a good job replacing the injured Danny Granger. Drew Holiday from Philadelphia, his first All-Star game. Kyrie Irving, his first All-Star game. He was playing tonight, and he will participate tomorrow in the three-point competition. Brooke Lopez, his first All-Star appearance, but he will be replaced by Joakim Noah. Lopez is injured. Noah's the second Bull to be in the All-Star game this year. Robert, how do you look at this list?
Well, Chris Bosh is going to be a starter in this game, which I don't really agree with. But when you look at the reserves, Tyson Chandler, maybe not the biggest name, maybe not the biggest guy, but this guy has really contributed. Also, let's go with Paul George, a big guy for the Indiana Pacers, especially with Danny Granger been out. This guy has been a big key for the Pacers. Drew Holiday, I really like him in this one too. I know it's his first one. Yeah, that's really helped the 76ers out ever since he's been drafted. And Kyle Irving. I really like Kyle Irving in this one as well.
Kyrie Irving, also known as Uncle Drew. If you haven't seen the Pepsi clips of him as Uncle Drew, you guys could take that out too. A lot of YouTube pretty much promotions that we like to give out to the show, and you guys should really look at it. It's very entertaining if you are one of a basketball fan. So we're ending the All-Star Weekend topic, and we're going straight to what is considered the news, the topic of the week. LeBron James having a good week, but we're going outside of LeBron James. It's Michael Jordan's 50th birthday. It's a big, big number. In his Hall of Fame induction speech, he said that, hey, I could be playing in my 50s. And some people asked that question, could he be playing right now in his 50s? Because we have some word that Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, the number 2 overall pick in last year's draft for the Charlotte Bobcats, lost to MJ in a one-on-one competition. Now let's bring in Nick Rice for this half of the show. Nick, welcome back to the show. Now I'm going outside of what Michael Kidd-Gilchrist had with his just utter sadness of losing to a 50-year-old, but he's the best in the game. But how do you consider MJ of the past to LeBron of today? And sorry, guys, a little bit of technical difficulty right there. Unfortunately, he's not with us right now. He'll be calling us back very shortly. But for the time, Robert, we can be talking about this. MJ LeBron and the MJ of the past was it was so good. A bunch of things had to really set up this pretty much. Nike endorsing Michael Jordan with the Air Jordans and such a hit in today's world. LeBron James making a cultural impact when he moved to Miami. How has the NBA changed with these two guys making such an impact to the game?
I think it's brought a lot of debate between these two, especially comparing LeBron James to Michael Jordan and Michael Jordan being compared to LeBron James. Michael Jordan, yes, this guy has been so popular for so many years. And, I like his shoes personally. Air Jordans are really nice to have. Use them for volleyball too. And I see kids using them for basketball as well at my high school. MJ is a player that you really can't compare anyone to. This guy has been a good player on and off the court. This guy has really made some quotes that everyone has mistakes and you have to learn from them. And he says mistakes are learning from the game.
Well spoken, Robert. Well spoken. And obviously, the big news in his heyday was that he quit basketball to play a little bit of baseball in the White Sox organization. That didn't really go out well, and then he goes back to the NBA. Just a weird path to his success. He was really good at pretty much the prime of his career. He quits basketball, plays baseball. He goes back, and then he goes on another prime of his career. And it seems that that's been the case for him, and we're probably not going to see that ever again from some guy who, when he turned 40, led the Bulls to another NBA title. So obviously it's a big week for Michael Jordan. We wish him happy birthday. And since we don't have a lot of time left of the show, let's go to our last topic. We just got word that Nick Rice will not be coming back to the show. Unfortunately, he does have technical difficulties with his Skype account. Unfortunately, Skype is not able to really get things up to date with what is going on between the two of us. So he'll not, like I said, he will not be rejoining us for today's show. And he wishes the listeners a very nice All-Star weekend and a very nice 3-day weekend, President's Day here in the United States of America. Let's check at the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference, the playoff picture pretty much. Let's get your input. Let's start with the Eastern Conference.
Miami #1, not surprising. This team has always worked together, and now there is 3 starters in for the All-Star game now with Chris Bosh starting. This team has worked well as a team ever since getting the Big Three, and I think they could go for another title run, but I want them to be stopped. I want a new team to get in there. New York, a team that I think they'll do pretty well. One surprising team is probably gonna be. I would have to go with the Celtics. I mean, I don't think this team could do well. Cameron, no offense, but this team is a team that can't do very well on the road, as they have the worst road record, in the Eastern Conference, 8-15. I don't think that team's gonna go far, especially if they have to travel. They're home. If they stay at home, yeah, they're 20-9. That's pretty good. They're less than that. And Steven, what's your input on this? I want to know who you think would make the playoffs, or maybe even make the top 4.
My surprise team in this top 8 is, I have to agree with you, the Boston Celtics. Rajon Rondo's injury, detrimental. Is the biggest loss of the year in the NBA. Derrick Rose, that's an old story. That was from last year. This is Rajon Rondo, the one of the best point guards in today's game, and he tears his ACL. And then Boston starts going on a winning streak. They're 8-2 in the last 10. No one thought that was going to happen. They're above 500 now. They're 9 games behind the Miami Heat for #1 in the Eastern Conference. That was just a huge surprise. No, everybody's going to think Boston's going to tumble and be in the mix with Cleveland and Washington around the bottom half of the Eastern Conference. That's not the case. They're #7 still. They're above Milwaukee by a game and a half. It's such a surprise. And then Miami is going to go to the NBA Finals again, in my opinion. Pretty much, there's no doubt about it. It's unfortunate that sometimes you can buy a championship, and that's what Miami has done. I mean, getting LeBron James, getting Chris Bosh, getting Ray Allen. It's unfortunate, but that's how the NBA is right now, and that's how the Miami are trying to look for success. So let's transition to the Western Conference now. And Robert, obviously you enjoy the Warriors a lot. Surprise this year, #6 in the Western Conference. How do you feel about the top 8 in the Western Conference?
Top 8 looks pretty good. A team that, San Antonio Spurs is always a team that stands out to me. Team that has the best division record, 11-2. The team that can always win in their division games. The 2 losses I don't think really matter. I think this team has just worked well. Oklahoma, the Thunder. Come on, man. That's a favorite team I like. You got Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant working there. A team that I think can go back to the top 4, but I don't think we'll go all the way. Clippers, a team that's really sparked this year. A team that, with Blake Griffin and Chris Paul, I think they're really working together. Let's see. Houston, probably a real Houston is a team that, had to come back, and, especially getting Jeremy Lin and James Harden. Jeremy Lin wasn't what he was, but, the Knicks, when he was with the Knicks, he just had one of his best years, but Houston has really came back. Golden State, they have to, get wins. I mean, this is a team that is really struggling, lost to the last five. Especially with the road. I know they were good in the beginning with the road record. Now this team is really struggling on the road. They're 14 and 15. That's not bad. It's still, you want to get over 500. 16 and 7 at home. I'm liking that so far. A team that's done pretty well at home. A team that's struggled with the. I don't think Ezeli hasn't not done bad at all at the center spot. Bogut, a guy I think that maybe could mix us up a little bit. Denver, I really like so far in this one. I think if I had to pick the top four, I wouldn't pick the Warriors. I think this team will develop next year, just get a more better experience at it. But if I had to pick, I think San Antonio and Oklahoma can go to that top four, and the other four I would probably have to go with Miami and let's see. This is a really tough list. I'd go with Miami, and I think the Brooklyn Nets can do it.
Well, that's good. My Eastern Conference, so it'll be Miami and Indiana. Indiana's my surprise team. New York hasn't really done good in the playoffs, so I'll give Indiana the edge. And then in the Western Conference, it's kind of upsetting to me that Oklahoma City is behind San Antonio again. That's what happened last year, and it's not good. It's not good for Oklahoma City. You shouldn't be behind San Antonio, which is getting old and rusty. Look, you got San Antonio has Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Matt Bonner. Oklahoma City has Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook. Where is number one for Oklahoma City? Miami's number one for a reason. Oklahoma City is not, and it's for some reason. Oklahoma City has lost to some bad teams. They've lost to Golden State. They've lost to Houston. They have lost to teams that they should have won, honestly. And their home record is really good, to be honest. Their road record could get better, but hopefully things could change for Oklahoma City. But I want to get Robert's opinion on this. Do you think? How do you feel about San Antonio being number one and Oklahoma City being number two?
I mean, Oklahoma City and San Antonio, I mean, their players are, I wouldn't say average, because I know Tim Duncan can be a little overrated in this situation. But
He's a 14-time All-Star, that's the thing. Yeah. He's voted to be an All-Star again. He's a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah. But, San Antonio, they shouldn't be at the top. Oklahoma deserves to be up there, but they got to work for it. Now, when you say they lost to Golden State has beat Miami, they beat Oklahoma, and they beat the Clippers. The first team to ever do that in a season. They did beat the Clippers twice, but they did lose to Oklahoma City on the road. They did lose to the Heat on the road, I believe. And, I think Oklahoma just really has to step up their game. A team that has a lot of potential, a team that can get to number one, they just got to work harder.
To wrap up we're wrapping up the show right now, and I'm just wrapping up this topic right here. What's your surprise team? What's your one surprise team from the Western Conference? Mine, have to give it a split though. Golden State and Utah. Golden State, I was saying they're gonna be number 8 seed, maybe out of the picture, but Utah. All teams, Utah is not getting any attention. They're number 7 in the Western Conference. Hopefully they keep it up, because I really like Utah playing Oklahoma City if the playoffs were today. San Antonio will be taking on Houston. That would be a pretty good matchup. Oklahoma City and Utah, that would be nice. LA and Golden State, the Clippers and Golden State, that would be good. And then Memphis and Denver. So, my surprise team is Golden State and Utah, but I'll give it more to Utah, because Golden State, they have the potential. They've had the potential. It's just that they haven't done well. It's the injuries and the inconsistency. And that's the problem that I've had with them for the last few years. What's your surprise team this year?
The Western Conference, I think Houston, with a team that Jeremy Lin has gone the potential that Houston has, and James Harden, a guy that got his first year starting. I think he did pretty well. A team that I thought wouldn't do very well, and they're at number 8. It's pretty surprising to me, but I think Portland Trailblazers can still come up. Yeah, Golden State, man, that's a team that's really surprised me. Getting rid of Monte Ellis that year and going to Milwaukee, and Milwaukee is at the number 8 seed. I think Monte Ellis, he was a good player and everything. Just, I thought he deserved more of a playoff run than what he had for the 1 year. But, I think Golden State and Houston are probably the two I'm gonna have to split.
And that's about it, folks. That's all we got. NBA tonight, the All-Star game, the All-Star Weekend edition, I should say, because we're talking about today's Rising Stars Challenge. We talked about tomorrow's activities, the slam dunk competition presented by Sprite, and the 3-point competition presented by Foot Locker. And then lastly, we talked about the All-Star game, and then we went to MJ and LJ, a little bit of a ironic stuff right there, and then we went into a little bit of a playoff preview. So, this is really good. I think we had a lot of fun. And thank you guys for listening out there. This was the NBA Tonight, the All-Star Weekend edition. My name is Steven Hughes, and along with me was Robert Dieters. And here's an update for Robert Dieters on his new show, the Dietz Sports Talk.
Well, it's been for a while, but, I just wanted to bring it out. I do have a page now, and over 40 likes. I'm liking it, and you guys should like it too. Go to Facebook, like Dietz Sports Talk, and why sports matters, my friends. Steven, you want to talk about that?
Why sports matters, it goes into the game more than just stats and previews and breakdowns of games. It goes into how a certain game, a certain player has affected the game, and in terms of basketball, which will be one of my main topics for my first show, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, how have they changed the culture of the NBA and society that watches the game of basketball? How have they grown so accustomed to Air Jordan or to the way that companies have gone out and endorsed players that have changed the game? And I'll also talk about baseball, which is coming up soon with spring training. The defending champion San Francisco Giants starting in Scottsdale, Arizona. And hopefully everything goes well. Hopefully you guys can listen to my show, which will be on Sunday at 8 o'clock. It's a bit of a special time because I don't have school on Monday because it's President's Day. Thank you, George Washington, for giving public schools a day off in the state of California. Hallelujah. But you guys tune in at 8 o'clock. It'll be a 1-hour show. Tune into this radio station, national sports radio station. You guys can follow it here on Spreaker.com, on Twitter. You can like it on Facebook. Robert, finish it out.
Spreaker.com. Follow us on here if you're listening. We have Dietz Sports Talk. We have NFL Goal Line, which will not be back for a while. Follow us on Facebook as well. We have a national sports page.